what it could have been. And the fact that it was Julio that did it, I don't know, man. I just, that was really impactful to me, and just sort of the emotions that poured out of Julio at second base. Polo's a hero yesterday. Castillo's a hero yesterday. Spire and Munoz and Cal, like all those guys had big games. It's not to take away from anything else that happened yesterday, because all of it was really, really meaningful. But for Julio,
yep.
Brock, that was my favorite moment of the season. It was just the long story arc of Julio trying and over trying in these big moments to finally come up with that huge hit and do it in a bigger moment than any of the ones that he had unfortunately not delivered in.
Yep.
I just thought it was incredible, and he spoke to that right afterwards.
This has to be number one, like we haven't had a time like this here in a while, so being able to deliver a win tonight as a team, I think it was really, really special for me. Just to see the fans and the way they got going, it was very special. I'm always going to hold that memory in my heart.
Yeah, Salky, this is one where it was really cool to have Grandma and Grandpa in the house. So Grandma Peg and Grandpa Mike in the house. Tough to watch the Seahawks game with Grandpa Mike. There was a lot of frustration between him and I. And he had to get his old D coordinator from Puyallup on the phone. We had to try to get to some bottom line answers. But to see, to your point, just to see the pure childlike joy and love and passion pour out of Julio. And so much of sport that right now is challenged. The collegiate level, that I used to love, is so challenged. The NFL, that can be such a business. Baseball, has felt, and we felt some of this resurgence this year through adversity, through budget cuts, through TV stuff, and through it all. Like, there's the guy. Like, if you wanted one guy to have that moment to just emote with those 47,000 fans, like Grandma said, like, that's the guy to do it. I'm so happy for him. And grandmas and moms and husbands and fathers and brothers and sisters and kids and grandparents all across the Northwest, just shared in that love, joy, and emotion that Julio has.
So 3 things that sort of jumped out to me from that moment and from Julio's comments that we just played. 1, he mentions the crowd there, right? Doing it for this crowd. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There is, as far as I can tell, in my personal experience, there is no player in the history of baseball that thinks about the crowd and embraces the crowd more than Julio. He embraces the crowd like a basketball player. Like it's part of the game. He turns to the crowd immediately after every big play he makes in the field. Yesterday, Brock, as I was there, I was noticing Julio makes a catch for the first out of the inning, turns around to the crowd. Like, he tells Victor, he tells Randy, 1 out. He turns to the crowd and says, hey, 1 out. 1 out, guys. Everybody knows, 1 out. The crowd is there. It's part of his mindset in a way that I cannot think of any other ball player. It's not to say there hasn't been one. Yeah. But the fact that he wanted to do it at home in front of that crowd, I believe him when he says that was a really big part for him. I really do.
Do you think his watching King Felix navigate that before him?
Good question.
Because he's the other one that I would kind of put on that list.
I think pitchers do that probably more than hitters. I probably should have separated that out. But great question. I don't have an answer for you, but I think it's a tremendous thought. Yeah, maybe. That may have been it. Felix was absolutely like that as well. I think pitchers tend to kind of get juiced up that way. But Julio, there's just the way he embraces the crowd thing is definitely just amazing. Secondly, he says that he'll carry it in his heart forever. I believe him. I hope he also carries it in his mind for the next few weeks. You can do this. You've got it. You don't need to over-try. You don't need to have the monkey on your back of a few years' worth of inability to come through in those biggest moments. You did it in the most recent example and won your team the game when they absolutely needed it because you really didn't want to go down 2-0 heading to Detroit. You did it. And the fact that he's done it now and really has been the best player on the field through the first 2 games of this series, I hope that is just incredibly, I don't want to say comforting, but confidence inspiring for him. That I hope that's not just in his heart, but in his brain.
And you have seen that, right? We have seen that. Baseball has experienced that. You're seeing it with Vlad Guerrero in Toronto right now, that just putting his team on their back. You have seen in every, you see it in basketball too, but in baseball, you do see guys get hot in their postseason, and it just creates a vapor trail that, on their way to those, like we've talked about, 11 wins that they need to get, and they get number one, and he's a big, big reason for it.
He is. I forget what my third reason was, so let's just stick with two and say that it was enough. Julio asked. Now, I wrote down the first two, but then I thought I'd remember the third one, and then I forgot. So here is Julio after the game being asked about, hey, are you clutch?
I feel like in games like this, I feel like any situation is clutch. You can win a game in the first 3 innings of the game, in the middle of the game, or late in the game, because every single run matters. And, at the end of the day, people's going to call me whatever they want to call me, but, I feel like the biggest pride I take is into helping the team win. In any situation where I can, I feel like that's what makes me feel good. And, if they want to say that I'm clutch too, okay, cool, so be it.
So be it. God, I love that guy. And don't you just root for Julio? I mean, Brock, you'll love this story. So, very quick. So, Saturday night, we had a late afternoon hockey game for Cecily. So, I was out in Kirkland by the Snow King in Kirkland. It's kind of like Kingsgate area. Yeah. And so there's a bunch of things. There's like a sports bar right there, but it's 21 plus. Shout out to Tony's. And then there's another pizza place right there that we ended up going to. It's like like a sit-down pizza place with Italian food as well. And so eventually we had like a table for 12. All the kids go home. And it's like me, because Heather had taken the girls somewhere. It's me sitting there watching this game at a table for 12 with one other couple whose kid had left because it's a split family. So it's just me and this couple who I don't know that well. They're delightful people. I really enjoyed hanging out with Julie and Brian. But at some point, Julio's up, and they're showing the close-up of Julio. And I'm like, his eyes are just insane. Like, you cannot escape how beautiful this man's eyes are. And I'm telling Brian, I was like, look, we've been down there for spring training the last couple of years. Brock and I can't stop talking about his eyes. They're ensorceling, as I've said before.
Yes.
And Brian's like, oh, absolutely. It's crazy. His eyes are unbelievable. He turns to Julie and says, Julie, you ever noticed Julio's eyes? And she goes, yeah. So funny. And they're just so bright and so full of joy. And that moment for him, Brock, truly, truly, my favorite of this season so far. And there have been a lot of great redemption stories. Polo, we were talking about it earlier. What he did yesterday and throughout this season is a credit to him. It's a credit to Jerry and Justin and their crew for sticking with him and signing him again. And it's a credit to Dan and the rest of the coaching staff for coming up with a plan that maximized his value. He didn't end up playing third. He didn't end up playing second every day, but they found a way to kind of nurse him through the season and ended up with one of the great clutch performers in baseball right now, going and hitting fourth for them yesterday.
Yeah, and you know what else stands out? And I think what really makes Julio stand out in these moments too is not just the incredible talent and the speed and the exit velocities and all of that stuff. Is that, to your point, and you said this going into the weekend, got to be careful what you wish for. 47,000. But the amount of nervous energy, and the shots of the fans crying and people just digging at their face.
Yeah, isn't it great?
Oh, my gosh.
Well, and I didn't get to really watch I was at the game last night, but Friday or Saturday, rather. It was just constant.
And then there's Julio on the other end of it.
Yes.
That's just got this what? What?
So funny.
I get to play this great game. What?
It is childlike. Thank you. Pizza Bank is the name of the place that I was at, and it was great. Great food, great bizarre atmosphere to watch a game like that. It's not really a sports bar. They've got 2 TVs, and I'm sitting there. I don't know why. For whatever reason, the whole thing just kind of made me laugh. So.